A Little Inappropriate. This is a failed pilot for HBO created by Larry Charles, starring Kanye West's favorite musician, Kanye West.
I am Adolf Hitler, command of the Third Reich. Little known fact, also dope on the mic.
Oh sorry, he goes by Ye now, don't want to dead name him. Ye has made numerous attempts at starring in a TV show, like with Alligator Boots, which maybe I'll talk about in a future video. A Little Inappropriate was announced in January 2007, with Charles being given $400,000 to shoot the pilot over the course of 5 days. Much of it relied on improv comedy, which made many compare it to Larry David's Curb Your Enthusiasm. Even Ye himself made the comparison, with Larry Charles mentioning this in a September 2008 interview. What Kanye West said to me the first time, he said, "I'm the Black Larry David." That's the first thing he said to me. So it's like a Kanye and Curb show. It's kind of improvised about the situations and stuff. Charles continues, mentioning why the show never got picked up for a full series. It was really good, but again I think it was too hardcore for HBO. Also, HBO's management shifted, but HBO doesn't have a good track record when it comes to black shows, and I feel like that may have something to do with it also. I don't see a lot of shows about that experience at all. This was very entertaining, and we showed it to a lot of people. The pilot was never published, though a 4-minute clip was posted on YouTube in 2010 by Allison Quinn for her acting reel. This remained obscure until July 2013, when it was discovered by various news outlets such as Gawker. Remember Gawker? If you don't, that's a good thing. They hated the pilot, describing it as the worst thing ever. Within a week of the clip resurfacing, American comedian Wyatt Cenac would screen the full 30-minute pilot at Night Train, his weekly stand-up show that he does in Brooklyn, New York. He was actually part of the pilot, explaining how he got his hands on it. By the way, Cenac did not have permission from HBO to do this, which is why he never promoted the showing of the pilot on advertisements. And during the screening, he'd interject with his own commentary, retelling stories from the production process. The pilot garnered mixed reception from his audience, probably explaining why it was never picked up by HBO in the first place. Simple answer is, there wasn't enough Ye in it. Despite it being confirmed that the pilot was out there, it wouldn't be for another decade that it was made public. Actually, it was accidentally made public on Larry Charles' Vimeo account. Sam Vision, a user on the Ye-related subreddit GoodAssSub, noticed this, making a post with the link. The video was quickly privated, though it didn't stop users from archiving it on other sites such as YouTube. I watched the pilot for myself, and it's quite mediocre. It stars Ye as an exaggerated version of himself, Wyatt Cenac as his fictional cousin, KC, JB Smooth as his manager, Leonard Harris as his bodyguard, and Kim Whitley portraying his mother. The episode starts out with a drawn-out 6-minute scene of Ye and his posse in the car, with the only interesting joke being when his white driver spouts out the gamer word. Then, they arrive at a CD signing, where Ye has to endure various fans giving music auditions.
See, right now it's all about Kanye West, but in a second, it's gonna be all about Monroe Richardson.
Yeah, what? What? I wish that was Africa, because a spear would have hit you dead in your fucking back, man. You feel me?
Ye then goes to visit a Make-A-Wish kid, telling his bodyguard that he isn't needed.
It's a Make-A-Wish kid. Mm-hmm. The Make-A-Wish kid is not finna do nothing to me.
I don't care.
I can protect myself around a Make-A-Wish kid.
Okay.
I can whoop the Make-A-Wish kid's ass.
I tell you what, he better make a wish and behave himself, because I hear anything such as a fart or anything out of place, I'm coming through that door. Now you take your chances, boss.
Ye believes this kid is terminally ill, and jams out with him using a xylophone. He's eventually told that the kid will survive, so he bounces and declines to make a song with him.
I think he has his wish. He gets to live. It's all good. It's all good. So it was good meeting you. You have to live a very prosperous life, and it was great to meet. No, it was great to meet you. We can go. Can we get him some tickets for the show?
You suck.
The only other part of this episode is a random scene where Ye and his buddies are watching Mission Impossible and meet a fake Tom Cruise. There's some potential here, but it's just not that humorous. I can understand why this show wasn't picked up, though maybe Larry Charles should try again with the current day Ye. Maybe have him co-star with Jonah Hill, I'm sure he'll like that. Big Brother. At E3 1998, the developer Media X announced a new title, a spiritual sequel to the famous George Orwell novel Big Brother. On the same day of May 28th, a press release was sent out which details why the company believed this would be a massive success. They mention how popular the book is, while taking the time to describe the gameplay. Gamers enter this cutting-edge, real-time 3D adventure and navigate 10 square blocks of Orwell's retrofuturistic world, navigating freely through this dystopian landscape in search of the missing Emma. The adventure offers the player clues to follow, puzzles to solve, and interaction with other real-time 3D characters, while trying to disable and destroy intrusive telescreens and spy cameras watching the player's every move. Everything is interactive and a potential key to the next stage of gameplay. With more than 20 levels packed of dynamic, interactive puzzles, new elements can appear in the game at any time. The story of the game begins right after the novel, with the main character, Blair, meeting up with other characters, and joining the hacker underground in order to overthrow Big Brother. The game was given a release window of September 1998, reportedly going to retail for $29.95. It would later be pushed to early 1999, though by September of that year, it was still in post-production. The delay seemed to be due to high development costs, and it stopped being mentioned in company reports by 2000. Media X would lose the rights to Big Brother, being given back to its rights holder, Newspeak. They attempted to find another publisher, though eventually it was cancelled. 64s, a prominent Lost Media Wiki user, sought out the game in 2021. He sent an email to Matt McLaurin, the founder of Media X. After a period of time, McLaurin barely responded to questions, clearly disinterested in talking about the game. Another attempt was made by another Lost Media Wiki user named Ziggy, who contacted both Matt McLaurin and the art director for the game, Mark Gilster. He not only emailed them, but tried calling them too, though neither responded. Then, just recently on March 1st, 2025, the game was just dumped on the Internet Archive by user Shedtoll. Along with the installation instructions, they wrote, "While it is a demo, further levels and logic from the full game are present within the files. I have no idea how this guy found it. It was just posted with little to no explanation. I assume this person either worked with Media X or somehow obtained it from them." I Wish You Well. Before reaching their current level of success, the band, Imagine Dragons, were just a small group from Las Vegas, Nevada. Their first big break was when Train's frontman got sick before 2009's Bite of Las Vegas festival. Imagine Dragons filled in, with their music being heard by over 26,000 people. They would then release 2 EPs, Imagine Dragons and Hell in Silence. The band would perform these new songs at live events, as well as other songs such as I Wish You Well. The song is seemingly a tribute to a deceased friend, though I'm not sure where that claim comes from. On April 9, 2010, they performed the song at the Bunkhouse Saloon, also in Vegas. The song wasn't readily available online, until one person recorded the live performance on their phone, posting it to YouTube on April 13th. It's in pretty terrible quality, not just visually, but in terms of audio too. On May 7th, a 50-second clip of the song was played on the official Blue Microphones podcast. It mainly features the guitar solo, as well as 2 lines worth of lyrics.
You know, we're going to put a little teaser on the podcast so you guys have an idea how killer this song is, and we should probably incorporate part of Wayne's solo, guitar solo, which is pretty damn sick. And, you know, I Wish You Well.
This podcast does not mention when the song would be released, with it being absent from the next EP, 2011's It's Time. The lyrics are put on Genius following these teasers, but nothing else came out relating to I Wish You Well. That would be until December 13th, 2024, when an anonymous internet user published the song in a Google Drive folder. This folder was shared with the Lost Media Wiki, which is how we now have it. Something to note is that the version found was not the one played on the official Blue Microphone podcast, but instead a live studio recording, so one version is available to listen to, while the latter is lost. Some still hope to find that one, as it seemingly had a better guitar solo. Mars Needs Mom Seth Green cut. Image Movers was a production company specializing in motion capture, with them creating fully animated films with that technology. You'll recognize them for films such as The Polar Express, Beowulf, and Monster House. In 2007, they were bought out by Disney, with their last 2 films being distributed by that company. 2009's A Christmas Carol, starring Jim Carrey, underperformed in the box office, meaning their next film would be their last. That would end up being 2011's Mars Needs Moms, a film that is cited as one of the biggest box office bombs of all time. It lost around $140 million, not even adjusting for inflation. There's multiple reasons why this film failed, like its strange plot of a kid having to rescue his mom from Martians. Said Martians want his mother because they need her memories for their nanny bots, as they are unaware of how to raise their children. The film also had terrible marketing, especially due to how ugly the film looks. Motion capture doesn't all look bad, it's just that this film tries to be both realistic and cartoony. I don't know how else to describe this other than a botched abortion. Speaking of the marketing, in the first ever trailer, the main kid was voiced by Seth Green.
Milo? Is that broccoli?
No, that's vomit, but I understand the confusion.
I told you to eat that!
Well, you're not gonna make me eat it now, are you?
Seth Green was brought on to perform motion capture for Milo, and was originally supposed to voice him in the final film. Following the first trailer's release in late 2010, the voice was changed to a child voice actor named Seth Dusky. Green's voice was deemed too mature for the character, which is why it was highly altered. In an interview, he said, "There was always a consideration that the character would be redubbed by an actual kid. Weird how his voice still made it into a trailer though." Following the film's release, only bits and pieces of Seth Green's original audio was online, mainly from that trailer. It was believed that his lines were out there somewhere, but they were never featured as some sort of DVD extra. Then, on May 29th, 2020, YouTuber Cinephile Studios released a video detailing how he managed to find all of it. When he made a review video of Mars Needs Moms in 2018, he realized that the audio featured in his Blu-ray had Seth Green's voice.
When I made the review in 2018, I did what I usually do. I watched the movie, popped it in the Blu-ray, finished watching it, wrote the review, started editing it, and then I ripped the movie from the Blu-ray itself. I get the highest quality version I can. When I rip the movie, I pretty much rip the entire disc, and then I take the disc, then I find the longest track, which is usually for the movie, and then I convert it to an MP4, and then I use it for editing the review. But when I edited it, I got a version of the movie that had Seth Green's vocals. Something didn't sound right, because I was like, this Milo doesn't sound the same, and then I realized, oh, this is Seth Green's vocals. I didn't realize this was on the Blu-ray. I didn't realize that was an option. So I reconverted the movie, and then I got the correct version that had the younger kid playing Milo.
He didn't really think much of it at the time, though a joke movement based on the Snyder cut of Justice League made him realize that he had the Seth Green cut. It wasn't an option on the Blu-ray, the file was just embedded into it. To prove that he found it, Cinephile Studios uploaded the entire cut onto his SoundCloud, where it would be mirrored on the Internet Archive. A day later, it was uncovered that the audio was taken from the Life on Mars, the full motion capture experience, which had a feature that showed the film before motion capture animation was applied to it. So if you want to watch this really ugly film of Seth Green's baby voice, you can do just that.
No one likes zombies. They're an abomination. I'm committed to their annihilation.
Well, you're not gonna make me eat it now, are you?
Mom! Hey! I'm caught in here! Let me... Whoa! I'm in a spaceship!
Spider-Man 4 video game. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, despite its mixed reception, still made enough money to warrant another sequel. So, in 2008, Spider-Man 4 began development, with a release date of May 6, 2011. Not much is known about the plot, though we do know who the villains were supposed to be. Dylan Baker would return as Dr. Kurt Connors, who would transform into the Lizard during the film. Anne Hathaway would play Black Cat, and John Malkovich would play the Vulture. Though by early 2010, the film was cancelled, with Deadline reporting that Sony Pictures decided today to reboot the Spider-Man franchise after franchise director Sam Raimi pulled out of Spider-Man 4, because he felt he couldn't make its summer release date and keep the film's creative integrity. This means that Raimi and the cast, including star Tobey Maguire, are out. Sony instead focused on a new Spider-Man, played by Andrew Garfield in the two Amazing Spider-Man films. What many don't know is that a video game tied to the cancelled fourth film was already in production, set to release alongside the movie in mid-2011. It most likely would have starred Tobey Maguire, seeing that he played Spider-Man in the first three games. The game featured an open-world New York City that Spider-Man could swing around, with him having to stop crime and collect various items. We know this based on the previous games and various screenshots posted by Twitter user AndrewEarly7 on September 10th, 2019. Other users replied, asking to see more, so we did. Wayne Dalton, who worked on this game, would post his own screenshots, while also mentioning that many elements from the game would be recycled into another, 2012's Prototype 2. This makes sense as both games are developed by Radical Entertainment. Besides this, Dalton didn't have any sorts of footage, though another person did. On November 30th, 2019, YouTube user Hard4Games uploaded a video with the gameplay and the debug menu. This was the Wii version of the game, quite a bit different than the version shown off by Wayne Dalton. His must have been from a different stage of development altogether. A day later, on December 1st, the full game would be uploaded to the Internet Archive by Disk Hacker. They claim to have found it through an RVT-H Wii development kit. The Xbox 360 version was known to exist throughout 2021, finally leaking that year in September. It's obviously not the full complete game as intended, but it's enough to get the feel of the game. Obviously, if Sony ever does a new Spider-Man film of Tobey Maguire, it would be completely different and will probably feature different villains. Gilbert Gottfried's 9/11 joke. Comedy Central has been airing roasts for decades now, shows where they get a bunch of celebrities together so that they can make fun of each other. On September 29, 2001, a roast was held at the New York Friars Club, centering on Hugh Hefner, the founder of Playboy magazine. It features Adam Carolla, Drew Carey, Carson Daly, Ice-T, Jimmy Kimmel, and more. Most interesting of the bunch was comedian Gilbert Gottfried, known for his interesting voice.
Hi, this is Gilbert Gottfried. I'm pissing and shitting and coming. This one is for Pootie Pie and the 9-year-old army. I am the Cum Lord.
Gottfried became infamous after he made a joke about the then recent September 11th attacks, which happened only 2.5 weeks prior. I have to catch a flight to California. I can't get a direct flight. They said they have to stop at the Empire State Building first. The audience reaction was mixed, with some booing him and shouting, "Too soon." When the roast was aired on Comedy Central on November 4th, 2001, that joke was cut, alongside the infamous Aristocrats joke. That part was later shown in the 2005 documentary The Aristocrats. If you aren't familiar with what that's referring to, it's a very off-color joke, usually told privately amongst comedians. Gilbert is one of the first to tell it publicly.
And they start fucking and sucking each other. And then they take a bow. And the talent agent says, "I'll wait till you're ready." They might have to clean this up for TV.
Since that clip was available through the documentary, Comedy Central definitely has the footage of the 9/11 joke. There was actually a rumor that Comedy Central actually offered it to Gilbert for $15,000, which he declined. It would end up being shown on Gilbert's self-titled documentary on November 3rd, 2017.
I have to catch a flight to California. I can't get a direct flight. They said they have to stop at the Empire State Building first.
When reflecting on the situation back in 2016, Gilbert wrote, "I knew there were times where people wait to make jokes about something, but I always thought that concept was ridiculous. Is there an office of a guy behind a desk who decides when it's not too soon anymore? You can do jokes about the Lincoln assassination and the Titanic, and no one says anything because everyone involved is dead, and their grandchildren are dead. I actually think that's in worse taste. You're saying, screw all those people who died. I waited for it to become unimportant to us. When I do a joke about September 11th or the Japanese tsunami, what's funny is that it shocks the audience. They are responding to the fact that it's tragic, and you're acknowledging it." Gangnam Style Massacre. In 2012, the song Gangnam Style by Psy became a mega hit, with its music video being the first video in YouTube history to reach 1 billion views. And when success happens, there are those who wish to capitalize off of it. One such individual being Caroline Patron, who made a low-quality app called Gangnam Style Massacre. It was published to iOS stores by Psycho Bear Studios on November 4th, 2012. Its description reads, "You are in Gangnam, a wealthy neighborhood in the South Korean city of Seoul. To be precise, you are out in front of the most elite archery school in the city. Your job is simple. Take your bow and arrows, and shoot them to hit as many of the vases off the top of your friend's head. Aim too high, and your shot doesn't count. Aim too low, well, then you'll kill your friend, and your game is over. Basically, you have to aim arrows at items atop Psy's head." Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's not Psy. That's just someone of his likeness. We'll just call him Die. The game seemingly made it clear that you have to aim directly at this item, and not directly at him or above him. If you do, you lose the game, and have to start over from level 1. And since this game has no actual ties to Gangnam Style, copyright-free techno music blares in the background. The game remained unchanged until December 14th, 2012, when a tragedy happened in Newtown, Connecticut.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Rebecca Jarvis with the latest on the deadly shooting at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut, the Sandy Hook School, and it is turning out to be worse than anyone could have imagined.
The shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School killed a total of 27 people, including the gunman. It obviously had a massive effect on the media landscape, and within a few hours of it occurring, Gangnam Style Massacre released a new update. Now it was called Gangnam Dance School. The gameplay was changed entirely, with Dai here having to run away from a witch. This version of the game is still up surprisingly, though the original became lost. No references are made to it in the newer version, as it featured a character firing projectiles at someone else in front of a school. This subject would get brought up in an All Things Lost video about lost apps, leading to Reddit user ComputerDude77 remembering it. He actually managed to find it through the use of iTunes, hacking it to find the original version. So on June 18th, 2022, Gangnam Style Massacre is uploaded to the Internet Archive. So now, if you want to play as a psychopathic anime schoolgirl firing arrows at a chubby Korean pop star, you can do just that. House of Horrors. Now I actually talked about this Lost commercial in a video I did back in October 2024. It's one of 3 PSAs made to raise awareness of hemophilia by the National Hemophilia Foundation. For those not familiar with it, hemophilia is a disorder that makes it so your blood doesn't clot properly, making it so your blood bleeds longer than it should. Of the 3 PSAs, the only one that was found at the time was the clotting factor, with House of Horrors and I'm a Hemophiliac being missing. They were shown in New York State, as well as during the 1974 congressional hearings concerning the 1973 Hemophilia Act. Within the documentation of this hearing is a transcript for House of Horrors, dated December 14th, 1970. The PSA is 60 seconds long, featuring a man who has to be cautious of everything in his home. The narrator states, "The House of Horrors. To a hemophiliac, his own house is a house of horrors, where anything can make him bleed and send him to the hospital. But the most horrific thing of all is that we finally have a way to control his bleeding. Only, he's not getting it because he can't afford it. The only way he's going to get it is if you give it to him. We need your money. We're so close, yet so far." Viewers of this PSA remember this narration being chilling and haunting, with the visuals consisting of twisted camera shots of things like scissors and a scratching cat. Throughout the years, there have been many mentions of this ad and the connections to it. One was McDonald and Associates television commercials, who had aired 2 hemophilia-related PSAs. However, none of these were House of Horrors. There are also multiple publications from world radio history that mention the ad. Another issue mentions the audio equipment used for it. 2 months after I mentioned this topic on my channel, the YouTube channel Classic PSAs uploaded the thing in full on December 19th.
The House of Horrors. To a hemophiliac, his own house is a house of horrors, where anything can make him bleed and send him to the hospital. But the most horrible thing of all is that we finally have a way to control his bleeding, only he's not getting it, because he can't afford it. The only way he's going to get it is if you give it to him. We need your money. We're so close, yet so far.
A search quickly began for the other lost ad, I'm a Hemophiliac, with it being located 2 days later. It was part of an old commercial compilation on the site, myfootage.com, by Lost Media Wiki user Popper Hilton.
Don't worry, it's nothing serious. But a year ago, this could have put me in the hospital. Now my bleeding is under control because of a thing called a clotting factor. I was lucky. They picked me to test it out on. And for a year, I've been living and bleeding like a normal person.
Both videos obviously have a giant-ass watermark over them, but I'll take that over both being completely lost. Both commercials were seemingly used by this website as stock videos you could buy. The Backrooms. The best way to describe the Backrooms is like a modern-day creepypasta, a simple internet horror story that spun off into the wider online zeitgeist. Like many weird things, it originated from 4chan. On April 8th, 2018, a thread was started, asking for cursed images. Anonymous users posted some interesting results. one of which being this eerie image, what looks to be an abandoned office building with no exterior leaking in. A year later on May 12th, a user on 4chan's paranormal board had asked for similar images, many of which are considered part of the liminal space trend. These are images meant to provoke feelings of emptiness, uncanniness, and overall creepiness. In response to a user asking about the original image, another made up a backstory for it. If you're not careful and you clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the back rooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights and maximum hum buzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. That statement and the image would spread like wildfire going into the 2020s, becoming widely popular on the internet. This includes fan games, short films, and a potential movie produced by A24. But many wondered, where did the original image come from? Many began their search of the 2018 4chan post, with the file name 1342377940136.jpg. Some suspected that this could be a Unix timestamp that translates to Sunday, June 12, 2012. However, this lead went nowhere, since 4chan isn't exactly known for archiving older posts. It just wasn't worth going down that rabbit hole. Other leads were falsified by trolls, usually done for ARGs. One consisted of placing a 3D design of the Backrooms on Google Earth. Then came the Virtual World Discord server, which managed to find an archived 4chan post from March 8, 2011, not 2012. A user posted the image and wrote, "This is the most horrifying image I've ever seen. Are there any movies like this, or is truth stranger than fiction?" The image has the file name dsc00161.jpg. The letters DSC signifies that this image came from a Japanese camera, though we couldn't get any more information out of it since we didn't have the full image, just the archived thumbnail of it. And even if we did, 4chan would have scrubbed all the excess data from it regardless. Searchers were able to link it to a 2019 Twitter post from a user claiming to have the original source. Yes, for 5 years, nobody noticed this post. This links to a page archived on the Internet Wayback Machine in 2004 on the site hobbytownoshkosh.com, though the image on the site links back to 2002 via the EXIF data, being taken by the Sony Cybershot camera. So the true origin of this image is that it's from a room of a Hobbytown store in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. This room is being renovated to fit a RC race car track. The page wrote, "Above is the original view of the East Oval Room. Notice no windows are visible? You cannot see in the pictures the extent of water damage, but it was there requiring all of this material to come out." Crybaby Lane. On October 28, 2000, Nickelodeon aired a kids' horror film for their SNICK block. SNICK is their teen and preteen oriented programming block that ended in 2005. This particular night was hosted by Melissa Joan Hart. Crybaby Lane was conceptualized by director Peter Lauer, who based the plot on an old urban legend from his hometown. It was originally supposed to be released in theaters with a $10 million budget, but Nickelodeon stepped in and made it simply a direct-to-TV movie. It now only had an $800,000 budget, being filmed within small towns within Ohio and New Jersey. It seemingly only aired once, reportedly due to complaints from parents regarding the film's disturbing content. This created the rumor that the film was banned, spreading similar theories about Nick trying to cover it up. During the early days of the lost media community, this topic would get mentioned, leading to Reddit user Simpman posting, "Today I learned Nickelodeon released a TV movie in 2000 that was so scary that they only aired it once. It is now considered a lost film." Another user named Fire Salad Peach commented, "I have a copy of Crybaby Lane that I recorded on VHS. Don't be surprised if men in black suits and SpongeBob masks come knocking at your door now that you've posted that." Someone asked if she could share her copy, to which she said, "I just read this TIL and remembered that I recorded it the night it aired. Just spent a while looking for the tape. I found the tape that has it on it, but I want to make sure it's got it. I'll suck your dick for that tape." Fire Salad Peach would then post proof in a now deleted YouTube video. The full movie would eventually be posted online, with the widespread attention even catching Nickelodeon's eye. The channel would re-air the film on October 28, 2011, this time being rated TV PG-V instead of TV Y7. It turns out that the film wasn't actually banned, but instead simply forgotten about by the channel. Peter Lauer later commented, "I didn't know anything about it being banned until you told me about it. All I know is that they aired it once. I just assumed they didn't show it again because they didn't like it. So why is this film so controversial? Well, let me describe to you the plot. It begins with the character, Mr. Bennett, played by Frank Langella, telling the legend of Crybaby Lane. Many decades ago, a farmer's wife gave birth to conjoined twins. The farmer hid them away, seeing both his sons as freaks. As they both grew up, it was clear that one of them was good-natured, and the other one was pure evil. During their teenage years, one of the twins grew ill, which affected both of them since they shared a liver. Both died, so before burying them, the farmer decided to split them apart with a saw. The good twin was buried at the local graveyard, while the evil one was buried at the end of an old dirt road named Crybaby Lane. It's said that, late at night, if you're at Crybaby Lane, you can hear the cries of the evil twin calling for vengeance. Our protagonist, Andrew, is told this legend alongside his brother Carl. They eventually hold a seance at the gravesite of the good twin, seemingly releasing its spirit. However, Mr. Bennett reveals that the two twins ended up in the wrong graves. The evil twin spirit was released, while the good twin is in Crybaby Lane, crying for help. The evil twin possesses Carl and most of the town's other residents. Andrew must now find the good twin's grave and release his spirit to end the curse. He manages to do so, only after a car chase and a weird scene involving these girls ganging up on Andrew.
No kiss? Then Chi-Chi. What's Chi-Chi?
Chi-Chi ends up being this massive woman who pushes Andrew to the ground. The only way to release these spirits is to cut a root attached to their heart. And this evil twin is pretty creepy, not gonna lie.
Somebody please help me! Help! You're mine. Sir. Who is it?
Yeah, I can understand a kid getting nightmares from this. This film was full of weird shit. Like the scene where Andrew takes off all of his wet clothes on camera and has to run outside in his underwear. Oh, and this younger kid wants Andrew to be his father.
I know a girl for you.
Paul, what have I told you about breathing my air?
You don't scare me. Forget it, Hall. She likes you. I'm not going out with your mom. Yeah, but if you married her, you could be my dad. Hall, look, you're 9. I'm 12. I'm 12 years old. You gotta stop coming over. You're a good kid. My mom was right about you. You are pathetic.
Bro got roasted by a 9-year-old. I'd still give watching this movie a try. It's weird, but it takes risks, unlike a lot of films these days. The film aired quite a few times around 2015 to 2017, so Nick has definitely not forgotten about it now.